There are so many things about the fragrance community that I absolutely love, but there are also at the same time so many things that I hate. From creators telling people that it's okay to use 20 sprays of cologne on a regular basis, from creators selling out their soul to promote fragrances that they don't even like, from fragrance creators dressing up in white tight underpants screaming power. Actually, that one's pretty funny. But perhaps the worst of them all, the biggest fragrance pet peeve that I have, are creators claiming that a certain fragrance is gonna pull a ton of guaranteed compliments from random strangers. The reality is, in the real world, people don't give out many compliments. Even if you're easygoing, approachable, you smile, perhaps you happen to be a good-looking guy that smells good, the chance of you getting a random compliment from a stranger on the way that you smell is still like 0 to none. That is why I didn't really want to make this video, but I've decided to make it anyway. These are my personal top 10 most complimented fragrances, and full disclaimer, these are actually the only 10 that I could really even think of that got me compliments, and a lot of these compliments were from people that I know, not from random strangers that these other creators want to make you believe will actually happen to you. In fact, these fragrances on this list, some of them have only gotten me 1 or 2 compliments ever, and I wear cologne every single day. This is the reality of fragrances and compliments. You should wear them for yourself at the end of the day. Yes, compliments are nice, but they are a lot more rare than a lot of creators will make you believe online. Before we get into the top 10 most complimented fragrances in my 140 or so bottle odd collection, we have 2 honorable mentions. The first is not Dior Sauvage, but actually Dior Sauvage Elixir. I sold my bottle of this about 2 years ago. But I will say, when I wore it a couple dozen times when I, originally purchased it 2 years ago, it did get me a compliment from a group of people. So I'm counting it in the honorable mentions. I wore it, it was to a friend's Halloween party, and I got in the car. I'd only used 3 sprays, but at the time, I did not realize how nuclear and powerful it was. It was a mix of compliments and complaints. The gist of it was, one girl in the car pointed it out, and then they all kind of jumped on board. And the bottom line was, they said, you sprayed way too much, but it does smell good. So I'm counting it as a compliment from around 4 or 5 people. All of them agreed it did smell good. It's just not the fragrance for me. That is why I sold it. It doesn't really suit me. It is definitely made for a more mature and masculine guy, in my opinion, maybe in their 30s or even 40s. However, it does likely pull a lot of compliments. Just don't use 3 sprays. You only need 1 or 2. It is just really that strong. The second fragrance that has made the honorable mention spot is one I only got about a week ago, and that is the primary reason it is on here and not in the official top 10, and that is Louis Vuitton's Pacific Chill. Every single friend, my girlfriend, my family that I've had smell this have absolutely loved it. Like, a couple of the friends that I showed, it could be biased because they knew it was from Louis Vuitton, so maybe it kind of primed them to make it seem like it smelled better or more high quality than it actually does. But they were like mind blown. Like, I had a couple friends that literally just sprayed it on themselves, and they were, I will just say, they were really, really jealous that I own this because they loved the smell. Also, it's a very, very fresh, masculine, sweet fragrance. Like, fresh and sweet together with strong performance generally always leads to a higher compliment percentage than other scent profiles out there. I just see this one being a big compliment puller in the future for me because I wear it all the time. If I do an updated top 10 most complimented list, I really would be shocked if this doesn't make it. We have officially arrived. This is the official top 10 most complimented fragrances in my entire collection. If you enjoyed this video at any point, make sure to like and subscribe so you see more of my content every single day. And please note, this is very important, I'm saving my most complimented fragrance until the end. So make sure to stick around until the end to see what fragrance could potentially also get you the most amount of compliments. In at the number 10 spot is Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. Full disclaimer, I actually rarely wear this fragrance anymore. The bulk of when I wore this was when it first came out. I think about 1.5 years to maybe even 2 years ago now, which is kind of crazy saying out loud because time has really moved fast in the fragrance world. This fragrance gets lavender, honey, a little bit of tobacco. I can't really smell the tobacco. To me, it's honey and vanilla just dosed up to the max. Super, super sweet and in your fragrance. Is it a surprise this thing gets so many compliments? No, it's just sexy. It's definitely too sweet for my personal preference. I like sweet fragrances, but not this sweet. This is a bit too next level for me. I will admit though, when it first came out, I wore this a ton. It got me like a couple compliments. Like my brother really liked it when it came out. However, the reason it's actually on this list is because it is my best friend's signature scent, and I have witnessed him get a lot of compliments with the fragrance. He uses like 4 to 5 sprays, and the scent trail that it leaves, I'm not gonna lie, it smells really, really good on him. It's not something I want to wear, but whenever he wears it, I always go, damn, like that is a really nice smell. And I realize what it is, and I'm like, maybe I should be wearing this thing more, because it gets compliments and the scent trail it leaves is genuinely just intoxicating. So if you want a sexy fragrance that girls like the smell of, that gets you compliments, and you don't mind that it's super, super sweet and potentially headache inducing, the Male Elixir could be a great option. In at the number 9 spot is Parfums de Male Althair. Spoiler alert, this is the only Parfums de Male on this top 10 most complimented list. A couple other PDMs have gotten me compliments in the past. My ex-girlfriend used to really like Parfums de Male Eau Jaune, and Greenlee has definitely gotten me compliments from family members, but this one has gotten me just a few more. I recently wore this. It was to my best friend, the guy that wears Male Elixir actually, to his 21st. I used 5 sprays, and at the pre's, is what we call like pre-drinks before the event, this got me 2 compliments. I just feel like it is the most mass appealing Parfums de Male, and also it has very strong projection, and it lasts about 8 to 9 hours on skin. So I find personally for compliments, performance is almost as important as the actual smell. It has to be mass appealing, it has to have a sweet element to it, and it also has to last and project well. Those for me are like the 3 key things that make a fragrance a compliment getter, and Parfums de Male Althair easily covers all 3 of them. Picture an orange creamsicle in a bottle. The orange blossom note for me is very, very noticeable, but it's not too orangey because it has a nice kind of cinnamon and a ton of vanilla. It's also a lot more versatile than people kind of make it out to be. I feel like this is an all year scent because it is honestly pretty fresh. I wouldn't wear it in like the hottest summer days. I still do think it is best for fall and winter, but you can wear this all year round if you wanted to. It is honestly really, really nice. My one downside about this fragrance is that there are now so many fantastic cologne fragrances available of this now. For example, Liquid Brune by Fragrance World, Art of Nature 2 by Lattafa, Armaf's Monarch is another new release from them that is a clone of Althair, and all 3 of those are just incredible. So it's hard for me to recommend this still, just when those clones are available, but it's still a fantastic smelling fragrance, and it's a high quality one. Next up at the number 8 slot is Stronger With You's Intensely. Now this one I wear all the time, and I've been wearing at least once a week for the past 2 years. So just the amount of wears, there's really no surprise it's on this list. The fragrances that you wear more are obviously going to be your most complimented in most cases. Is it a surprise that women and guys just love the smell of this? Not at all, because it smells like the Christmas season in a bottle, and it's pretty rare that you find someone out there that doesn't like Christmas. Amber, vanilla, toffee, a burnt kind of caramelly vibe. To me, it smells like a fluffy vanilla cupcake. Not the most masculine scent in the world, but I also wouldn't say it leans feminine. It's still masculine enough where no one's gonna think you're wearing a perfume. They're just gonna think you smell like a sweet and sexy dude, which I freaking love. There were some worries with how the new 2024 reformulation performs and smells. This one that I'm holding here is a 2024 bottle, and from my personal experience as someone that has owned Strong With You batches from a variety of years, they all smell the same and they all perform freaking amazingly. In fact, the 2024 ones might even be the best performing batch of Strong With You Intensely that I've tried. If you just want a fragrance that you can just chuck on and know that you smell amazing, no one is not going to like the smell of this. Honestly, I don't think I've ever made someone try this fragrance and they haven't given it at least an 8 out of 10. It is just a compliment pulling, mass appealing magnet. Simple as that. This next fragrance, I'm gonna just come clean to you guys, be honest, has only gotten me 1 compliment, and it was from my grandma, actually. I wore this, I came back from the gym, and this scent must have still lasted, and my grandparents had just come over, they were chilling at the dining table, and she was like, aren't you just the best smelling grandson? You know, some shit like that. But Versace Pour Homme, the main reason it's on this list is because I am kind of taking Jeremy Fragrance's word for how many compliments this thing gets him, and then I'm assuming if I wore it more, I would get some of that love, you know what I mean? Jeremy talks all the time about how this fragrance DNA just gets a lot of compliments, and I'm just not gonna lie, I actually do believe him, because this thing is so freaking fresh, masculine, but it also has a kind of sexy, sweet, citrusy element as well. I only wear this to the gym about once a month, so I just don't have enough usages to kind of say if it gets compliments or not. I'm just gonna take his word and put it on this list. Also, just a lot of other creators that wear this fragrance and talk about it say that it gets them a lot of compliments. Let me know down in the comments your kind of experience with this fragrance. I want to start wearing it more, and I have faith. I'll put $1,000 on the fact that this fragrance will get me a lot of compliments if I wear it more. So we're going to test it out. And I'll come back to you when I do an updated top 10 most complimented list. I really wanted to be able to put Mont Blanc Legend Spirit instead of Versace Pour Homme on this top 10, because I wear this pretty much every day or whenever I go to the gym, which at the moment is about 4 to 5 times a week, and I've been doing that consistently for about 2 years. So I've actually gone through 3 bottles of this fragrance, and it still has never gotten me a compliment. But I love it so much, but it just doesn't get compliments. We are halfway through the top 10 most complimented fragrance list, and at the number 5 spot is MFK's Grand Soir. This is my second bottle of this stuff. Now, this one gets a lot of kind of controversial reactions in my opinion, but from my experience with it, most people do seem to like it. The first compliment I got with this was I went to one of my best friend's house up the road, different friend. I used 5 sprays of this. Me and him were about to, 2-man it, go on a little night out, and you were doing some pre-drinks. I walk up the stairs and I walk past his mum's room, and she yells out, "Who is wearing that?" It was like someone like, "Who's wearing that lovely fragrance?" So then I came over, we had a chat, and she asked me what it's called. I sent her a photo of it, so she wanted to actually wear it for herself, is what it sounded like. And that's not really a surprise. This is marketed as a unisex fragrance. I do think it leans a little bit more masculine, but it is a heavy dose of amber and vanilla. Smells absolutely delicious, super strong off my skin as well, and it lasts around 12 hours. At the number 4 spot is a fragrance that, once again, hasn't really gotten me any compliments. I'm more just basing it off my experience smelling this on other people, and that is Replica's Jazz Club. Now, the first time I smelled this in public it actually might have been the same night as the night I pre-gamed with the Grand Soir that his mum complimented me on. I think after that, when we went out, I smelled this on a guy, and I was a little bit, not quite all there mentally. So I came up to him and I was like, "I'm going to guess what fragrance you're wearing." And he was like, "What?" Like, so confused. And I was like, "Look, like, I can recognize the fragrance is coming off you. I just can't quite get it in my head right now." And he found it kind of funny. So he's like, "Okay, yeah, you can try." 2 seconds later, I'm like, "That is Mason Margiela's Jazz Club." And he was so shocked, showed him my TikTok account, and it was a great chat. But the bottom line is, he smelled amazing. I walked past him, I think he was in line for a club or a bar or something like that, and I basically just got a whiff of his scent trail. And since that day, I've actually worn Jazz Club a lot more, because if my scent trail wearing this fragrance smells anything like it did on him, I want more of it. What's interesting is that it was really strong, and this is an eau de toilette, and it also gets kind of talked about in the fragrance community oftentimes as a fragrance that smells amazing but doesn't perform great. It's in desperate need of like an intense or an X-ray version, and I do kind of tend to agree. But after smelling how strong it was on him, especially considering if he was already out and about in the city, he probably applied it maybe an hour or 2 ago, it was very strong. Granted, he could have used like 20 sprays. We will never know. I kind of regret not asking him, but when I wear this, I use 7 sprays. Haven't gotten any complaints yet, but personally, I also haven't gotten any compliments. Just how good he smelled wearing it, I'm putting it on this list. It's just, that's how it is. Breaking into the top 3 is a 2-for-1, and that is these 2 here. The 2 classic, overhyped NPC F-boy fragrances, Dior Sauvage EDT, or EDP, sorry, technically, and Versace Eros EDT. The reason it's a 2-for-1 is because from the age of 16 to 18, when I kind of first discovered cologne, these were the first 2 that I bought, and I kind of rotated every day between these 2 for 2 years straight, which kind of pains me to say. I would have thought, hopefully, Finn, over those 2 years, you would have realized you want to smell a bit better and more unique, but apparently not. But I won't deny, I got a few compliments over those 2 years wearing both of these fragrances. Probably slightly more with Versace Eros, but that also could be because I wore this on nights out and then I wore Sauvage during the day. And compliments, at least in my experience, typically tend to come during nighttime, dinners, events, parties, that type of thing. In 2024, do I still recommend these two fragrances? I mean, yeah, they smell good. If you don't mind that they are popular and quite used in the general public, then go for it. Buy either or both of these fragrances. I will say, however, personally, I think from both these brands, there are better options. Instead of Versace Eros, I recommend getting Versace Eros Flame or even, Versace Eros Energy. I think that one as well is going to be a bit more unique. However, I don't like Energy that much, so Flame is usually my recommended Versace. And then for Dior, something like Dior Homme Intense, not quite as mass appealing. It might not get you as many compliments, but personally, I think it'll help you smell more refined, more elegant. It'll be more unique. Totally up to you though. 2 fragrances left and we are almost at the best for last. This one though, another recent fragrance pickup. I got this at the same time as I got Pacific Chill by Louis Vuitton. This one is Kilian's Angel Share. Now the reason I'm putting it on this list is because, one sec, let me show you. The reason Angel Share is on this list is because before I got Angel Share, I wore Maison Alhambra's Kismet Angel. As you can see, I've kind of chugged through this bottle. And Lattafa Camera, and both of these have gotten me compliments on a multitude of occasions. When I say multitude, I probably mean realistically 1 to 3 times on each of the fragrances. So I can only assume that for Angel Share, it'll have a similar effect. All 3 of these kind of smell like a baked pastry good, boozy, a whole bunch of cinnamon, and a whole bunch of vanilla as well. Lattafa Camera smells the least similar to both of these. This one, in my experience, is even more kind of cinnamon heavy. It adds a really rich praline date note. I like this one a lot. I'm going to be rotating, honestly, between Lattafa Camera Quaha and Angel Share. I'm not sure how much I'll be wearing the original Lattafa Camera anymore, but all of these fragrances are fantastic and they all have a very similar kind of baked pastry good scent profile. Really warm, really inviting, very cozy fragrances. Girls seem to love them. My current girlfriend gave me a compliment on Angel Share actually when we went out on a dinner date the other night. So I think that's a good sign of compliments to come with Angel Share. And finally, guys, the one you've all been waiting for. Congratulations for sticking to the end of this video, because the #1 most complimented fragrance from my experience is Club de Nuit Intense Man. Yes, this huge black brick that is only about $20 or $30 has pulled me the most compliments in my lifetime. The first main compliment I got with this fragrance, and the compliment that actually has encouraged me to keep wearing this, oh, it smells good. This one here is actually the EDP version. I have the EDT version as well. The EDP costs a bit more, but you get 200 ml instead of 100, and it's a little bit smoother in the opening. But I'll talk a little bit about that more later. Let me get back to my compliment story. So this was with my ex-girlfriend, and essentially she used to live at a college dorm just up the road from my house where I am now. And there's this pizza place that we wanted to try, about a 10-minute walk. So I sprayed this on. I did 4 sprays around my neck. My girlfriend at the time, she wasn't a huge fan of this fragrance, but she also didn't mind it. However, just when we got to the pizza place, as soon as I walk in, like, there's about a 10-meter gap between me and the guy at the cash register, right, of this pizza place. As soon as I walk in, he calls me out on the fragrance I'm wearing, and he goes, like, what fragrance? Like, I'm not kidding. This doesn't happen to people. Like, I was shocked. He asked me straight up, what fragrance are you wearing? And I was like, taken aback. Like, that has never happened to me before that day and since that day. So I told him it's Club de Nuit Intense Man. It's a clone of a fragrance called Creed Aventus. And then he said, he had heard of Creed Aventus before. And I said, yeah, honestly, this smells about 90% similar, and it only cost me $30. I got his number. I texted him, and he saved me as Club de Nuit in his phone as a contact. And ever since that day, I don't go there anymore, but the few times I went to that pizza place after, he used to call me Club de Nuit. He never even got my real name. That's how impactful this fragrance is. He freaking calls me this fragrance instead of my actual name. So if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know compliment wise about this fragrance, I don't know what does. Even after that, occasion when I started to wear this more, I also got compliments from friends and family. This is just a huge compliment puller. It probably has just as many compliments, just this fragrance alone, as all my other fragrances combined. I know that sounds ridiculous and I don't even wear this stuff that often. It's the Creator Aventus effect. It's just the smell. It's that citrusy, leather, really masculine scent DNA. There's something about it that people just gravitate towards, and it's just something that people love, quite simply. This, honestly, the opening is a lot harsher than Creator Aventus, but it's even stronger. And I think, like I mentioned earlier in the video, strong projection and good longevity is almost as important as the actual smell when it comes to compliments. That is going to wrap up this video on the top 10 most complimented fragrances of all time in my own personal experience. Please remember that compliments aren't everything. In fact, should be the last reason that you wear a cologne. You should be wearing them for your own self-confidence and, just to improve your own self-appearance and personal hygiene. If you like the video, please make sure to actually like it, subscribe, tick the bell for notifications, and have a blessed rest of your day. Oh, and also right now, if you're still watching this, type below your top 10 most complimented fragrances in the comment section down below.